Ready under lights, under action, under camera!
You forgot the fan in the chamber!
Let's go, bub. Rookie.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut!
Sleazy.
Nothing moves the blob.
Still thinking
Let's
about
go,
that discussion
Bob.
from last night.
All right, and we are back. All mics are brought up, including mine.
Always have to make sure.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? Funny story. Part of the reason why I did that is because the conversation last night about the vampire game and going back and cataloging everything. So I was going back and starting to listen to some of the old episodes, and I'm like, oh, well, there it was. Yeah, I didn't bring my mic up. Yeah. So,
Right.
like one of the first ones I clicked on, that's exactly what happened. I'm like, oh well. So thankfully it wasn't like too long.
Yeah.
But is what it is. But
No, I had to read lips.
what's that? Yeah. All right. So we are back. We are live. And the long-term show follower, Davy Jones, is back in his locker and watching the show. So thanks
Hey,
for
Davey.
tuning back in. So before we get started, it is the first game of the month, and it is customary that we, of course, make sure that we don't have any birthdays, which I don't believe we do, for this month. Right? No birthdays? Okay. So who wants to roll for the karma?
I will. What am I rolling?
Okay, you're rolling a d10, and I believe
Okay.
we're timesing it by 50.
Okay.
Right.
2 times 50. So 100.
Good job, Shelly. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, it's 100 points you guys didn't have before. So
Can we have an
Yeah.
advantage? Can we have an advantage on that roll?
no.
That 100 is going to go to my bank for strength.
Okay. So dumping that right into strength. Not a bad idea. Yeah, as Davy Jones said, bank. Remember the bank.
Yep.
So last we left off, interesting discussions were afoot. Actually, per the last two games, You have been dealing with the rise of the computer AI. You've been slowly gaining information on what you think might have taken place with Ixion's ship. And you've unfortunately dealt with some fallout with Ms. Bacall.
Yeah.
But everybody is here, and another day has come around. In the news, before we get started, it should be noted that New Prussian forces clashed with Russia, with the Russian Federation the night previous. Details remain sketchy as to what exactly had happened, but news outlets in Latvia, Justin, that's Latvia.
I feel attacked.
Yeah, I know. The news outlets have reported that they believe Russian military forces accidentally crossed over into New Prussia. They're emphasizing accidental. They don't believe it was an intentional, but it did result in a firefight, leaving the Russian forces wounded and a bit battered before they got back across their country lines. So tensions are being raised within Europe. Government leaders are starting to meet, specifically NATO, to determine what, if anything, they can do to help monitor and assess the situation. So it has been 2 days now since we last met. Your roommate, Carmen, has actually gone to Quantum. Was it Quantum Unlimited? Okay. Has gone. She did go for like the interview and kind of set up to determine what this whole thing is about. And when she came back from the interview, she dressed up as best as she could. When she came back, she had all kinds of questions and like random comment energy that one might have when faced with the unknown sort of thing, because as you realize, probably for the entirety of her life, she's been looked at as less than, and it is completely different to have that, what is perceived as a curse, to be perceived as something of value. And so she's got this excited, nervous energy, throughout the past 2 days after the interview sort of thing, hoping that she'll get a call back and whatnot. So the apartment is super clean. The trash has been taken out, even when it really didn't need to be taken out. Like she just had to, get up and move.
But is she thinks that they're going to come here?
She just can't sit still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, the fridge has been cleaned out, so it looks good. And really the only thing that needed to be cleaned out was the, milk that had expired. But other than that, she's just been, antsy and can't sit in front of the TV, for very long, periods of time sort of thing. So that is what you have been experiencing at Casa de Carmen with the roommate.
Right.
The rest of you, with the exception of obviously Mark Annette, I'm sure he's got his own place. But the rest of you who are staying at the Vein, it's been pretty quiet, with the exception of you guys having to tell Mainframe to keep it down on one occasion. He started playing tic-tac-toe, and it was very basic, overt loud sounds of boom, 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 as they were being, so, that just happened randomly. And, but other than that, there hasn't been really any disturbances at the Vein. It was just random and loud, and you had to kind of educate him on decibel levels in a way that made sense in a roommate sort of situation, because the computer kind of is now.
Right.
But we'll go ahead and assume at this point that everybody has gathered back at the vein to determine your next moves. Outside of that, that is all that's happened in the news. There has been no updates as of yet from the police regarding the Dr. October situation.
He's going to take 2 days to train.
Sure.
Come on, power stunt. Work this time. No, it does not work this time.
Okay, which makes sense. You have been very frustrated as of late. Your focus is lacking.
I'm going to work on my power stunt too.
Go ahead. Give it a roll.
Come on. 27.
All right. That is a no, unfortunately. So you are all diligently working in the appropriate areas, obviously in the danger room, to hone your powers to minimal success at this point, but you're at least learning what you can and can't do in a controlled environment, which is even better.
During this time, because of the things that like we've done recently, can I spend 100 karma to learn the repair and tinkering talent?
You 100% can, yes.
Cool.
So you, in essence, take some how-to books and review them, in a visual sense, sort of, download that to your memory banks and then test it out in an applicable manner. And yes, you're able to pick up that skill.
Sweet. All right. Okay.
So what are the plans for the rest of you as of today? Does the legacy have any
Shopping.
actions they're going to do? Oh, you're going shopping.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that a shopping?
It's my way of shopping.
We need to figure out if we're going to go through the legal manner or not with getting into New Prussia. If we take the legal manner, it's probably going to take a couple weeks for passports to come in. If we're going to go the less than legal manner, that is going to be a different conversation altogether.
I don't even think I have burst. I mean, I have fake ID.
It's the 90s. It's not that big of a deal with the passport. We have yet to hit September of, 2001 is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still several years off that.
So that wouldn't be such a big issue. And
Well, I know that when I had to get mine when I went to Panama, I had to have my birth certificate.
yes, and you have a wonderful person who has plenty of money to grease plenty of palms.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem with the resources at Hyperion's level.
It's
Come
true.
on. They just don't have an American birth certificate. That should be fine. They were born out in the middle of the woods. It's fine.
I was born in the pyramid.
There do also seem to be advantages and disadvantages depending on which route we take. If we're to be more clandestine, then we would need to stay unseen or unnoticed for an extended period of time. We would need to rely more than likely on Shon's teleportation to be there and leave. However, we don't know if they have any teleportation interference fields, like what exist here. And on the other hand, if we arrive using legal channels, we will more than likely have more access to the land itself, but as you mentioned, that will take additional time. And with what's recently happened according to the news, that might not be something we have an abundance of.
It sounds more like a border skirmish than anything else. And with the my direct siblings not giving me a call back yet. I'm guessing they're just being asses about getting in contact with me. I have a couple of reasons why I don't mind a 2-week wait, because I need to go for a proper swim, which might take a few days.
A proper swim. I'm not sure I follow.
Deep dive, way under the water. Once you start getting into the atmospheric pressures again, and you feel it pushing down on you, and you guys don't know what it's like to have air going through your gills, but it's a very pleasant sensation once you have them.
I'll take your word for it.
Interesting.
He is much more, as myself, am much more at home in the water.
Was that how it was on your world, Ixion?
My world does have land masses. However, the majority of it, probably close to 2 to 3 times more, or 2 to 3 times less land mass as opposed to Earth. We are more aquatic.
Let's see. That would make sense, evolutionarily speaking.
Although there are what you would consider to have something similar to gills, some of the creatures on my planet. However, obviously my species does not utilize such biological devices.
Are there any objections to waiting the time it takes to enter in legal channels?
Well, this skirmish could either die down or get worse. So really, it could go either way as far as helping or hindering our ability to slip in unnoticed, unremarked, I should say.
And would it be very quick for Shone and I to get a false identity?
Both a positive and a negative of the United States government. Couple $100 and a lot of people will turn their eyes from whatever you're looking at, and they will just believe whatever you say. It's the reason certain organizations get away with human biological testing and not have to suffer consequences for it. Here you go, $1 million, keep your eyes away from our business is essentially what happens. It's why the EPA has become so ineffective. Look at the river that we swam through in Strongford. It is covered with waste down there. Sealed containers that are slowly rotting away. And yes, I did the special to kind of build my brand a little bit more, but it really is a problem of how much is down there. But you pay a few $1,000s to the guy who comes through, you take him out to a nice dinner, and he just writes down that he checked and saw nothing. Or she, whoever the inspector is. Same thing applies to, oh, well, they were born in the woods and they didn't have any parents, or they could never make it to a hospital. They were homeschooled.
You do seem to be.
Sadly,
do
there's a
seem to
lot
be-
of money that just money makes the wheels turn, basically.
I will leave that up to you, though. From what I have seen of this world, somebody who is typically homeschooled is not quite as technologically advanced as Shone or I.
How do they know that she's technologically advanced?
I do not have the colloquial skills to tone down my language as some people can.
You're kind of a different subject. It's the same problem with the same solution. Print out a birth certificate from Hawaii and just show it to them, and odds are, as long as it looks right, they're not going to check it. And if you have to pay someone, you pay someone $100 or $200, and a lot of people just turn a blind eye to it.
Experience. Is this something that you can do?
It technically has been something I needed to do for myself. I'm fully aware that humanity would not be ready for a sentient machine, especially one like myself, to simply walk among them. Popular culture itself shows machines that can think as being inherently evil and destructive. So it is possible. We can accomplish that. Freddy is not wrong that there are definitely holes in that system. But frankly, when it comes to the ethics and legalities, I do not know of any laws that actually handle Shown or Ixion situations, since you are literally extraterrestrials. Humanity is not fully aware that they are real. In that way, they're egocentric, but with due purpose. So yes, we can accomplish that. I have no problem doing that.
So
Out of character. This is the time frame that like Terminator movies were hitting pretty good.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, like Terminator 2 came out like a couple of years ago or something.
T2 actually hit not too long ago, and it was the
Mhm.
massive blockbuster hit.
Yeah, so yeah, you probably wouldn't be well received.
They might have problems with you being a being that can be malleable in your shape.
Oh yeah, both of
However, if we treat you as a superpowered being who just happened to develop later on in your life, most people will turn a blind eye to it, and you'd get the same treatment as Shion or I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your character's name.
Carmen,
Or Carmen.
aka Lightbringer.
I believe the reception we'd receive when we reach New Prussia's borders would even be more amenable to the empowered that are among us here, since that is effectively the point of that country.
That's my thought as well.
We may need to do more research as far as what their customs are and what we should expect if we are to take our time.
So I say, as a way of doing this, we treat it a little bit like Congress without so many members, and we put it to a vote.
That can function. Therefore, the votes are who is in favor of the immediate clandestine method. Who is
Seems
in favor?
unanimous.
Who is in favor of the legal route?
I could go either way. I don't have a strong preference either way.
Sorry, Justin's a 10-year-old at heart, so I always snicker at that.
Then
All
we
right.
will choose the legal method. It's been decided.
I already have a passport, so you don't have to worry about me.
Are we still going with the plan of that we're there to set up possibly shop?
Yes. Since I work for his company, our mission is twofold. See about the possibility of opening up a research center for superpowered beings, which would fit with the country's ideology and purpose, or at least stated purpose. We don't have to commit to anything. While I am there as part of oceanic reasons to check the rivers and the ocean to make sure that they are safe for the number of people there and make sure it doesn't hurt the ecology. As a country like this is bound to have a large influx of metahumans or whatever you want to call people who have powers.
Precisely. With those options being our covers, we will need objectives. The main objective, of course, being the location of Ixion's vessel. Secondly, to actually retrieve the vessel.
Right.
Third, see if it is possible that the teleportation technology they use is nearby and see what can be done to remove it from their use.
We will not be destroying a nuclear... They have a nuke station, right? For the power?
Yes.
We will not be damaging nuclear resources. That has a much larger effect on the surrounding area, and no one wants another 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl.
Of course. 0 casualties is the goal. Well, we will have time over the next 1.5 to 2 weeks. I and my company will be working on legalizing both Ixion and Shone for travel purposes. Carmen,
And-
do you need any of that as well?
Sorry, what was the question? I was reading about.
Basically, do you need a passport?
Yeah, I do. I haven't lived anywhere except Strongford, so yes.
We will accomplish that as well.
Thank you.
And I'll be back in about 7 to 10 days. I actually do have a purpose for going down other than just letting my gills breathe.
Are you willing to share that purpose with us?
It has to do with the pearl.
I see.
It's been acting funny. And
Please continue.
maybe taking it back to the ocean it began at might work to sedate it. I think it's sentient, or at least partially sentient.
Well, if you figure out any way that we can assist, please don't hesitate.
Please
You're
keep
going
in
to have to
mind that
swim pretty far down to get there.
I just mean
that is not a problem.
research or whatever.
Keep in mind, once again, I am from an aquatic planet and I have no lungs. The pressure is not anything that I cannot withstand.
Do you think you could take pictures for them, Hyperion? They will require a very specific type of photo. Do you think you'll be able to get that for Ixion?
I should be able to develop something, perhaps a computerized solution to modify an image in order to ensure that. Or perhaps we can work on making a more permanent solution for you, Ixion. Something of a holographic nature.
Keep in
Well, I'm
mind,
just wondering if-
I have started to work on my mimicking ability.
Well, more specifically, I was asking, can you like pretend to be him and get a picture taken? I think you're overthinking it just a little bit, at least short term.
Out of character, you don't need to have them take your picture. You can actually bring one in as long as it fits the criteria.
I know that.
Yeah.
But Hyperion might not know that. Ixion might not know that. Lightbringer probably doesn't know that.
I know Shone doesn't.
In short, he's trying to act if you ask if you can throw on your holograms and look like him to take a picture.
Yeah, I mean,
I can. That is
All right.
possible.
do my illusions show on camera?
That's a very good question.
It's visual
I-
only.
Do not have an answer.
We may have to test this.
Yeah.
With our handy dandy 35 millimeter.
I was thinking, is it worth paying to develop? Hmm.
It's not like we have our cell phone.
All right.
Right.
See if there's something in here.
We might have a cell phone, but it's like
Oh. Illusions can be mechanically detected and recorded by photography or television.
Yeah, because if you're
nice.
just manipulating light, then that should be. You're not like hypnotizing people. You're,
I mean, I could do that, but
Yeah, but if you were hypnotizing, then it would still the
like
true
on it.
image would be picked up on by camera.
Hmm.
Like I might think that you're Brad Pitt, but if you're not really like physically manifesting as an illusion of Brad Pitt, you're just like messing with my mind for me to see it, then when if I'm like, oh, can I take a Polaroid of you? And I'm like, oh yeah, Brad Pitt. And then I look at it and I'm like, that's not Brad Pitt, you know.
This is a very magey question, by the way.
You
Because
should
there's a lot of ways to answer that question.
you should read the section in the handbook about illusion casting. It is long, and it gets like very what's
Mage the Ascension
what's
or D&D?
physical in what?
Mage the Ascension or D&D, though?
No, in this handbook.
Oh.
In this handbook. Sorry, back to character. So yeah, if needed, I mean, we might want to test it before trying, but I could probably make an illusion of either of you too. So
Well, I already have a passport, so we don't have to worry about getting me one.
right.
But if Ixion wants to go with me, he has to make sure someone has his picture for the passport.
Okay.
Jerome, what time of day is it right now?
Well, right about now, we'll say it's coming up on the afternoon, so you're 11:30 ish.
Okay. We can get this accomplished as soon as possible. I will see about making arrangements through my company for the legal papers. Freddie, would you be willing to at least get photographs for our sisters? Meanwhile, I will work on creating an image as well for Ixion.
Do you have a camera?
Jerome, do we have like a camera within
I'm not even going to
the
make
vein?
you guys roll for it. Yeah,
Okay.
somebody has access to a camera somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Polaroid 35 millimeter.
Oh yeah,
or something.
100%. Yep. It's the Instamatic at this point. So all you have to do is let it spit out, wiggle it, and it's good to go.
Yes. Okay.
Did Polaroids work for passports back then?
Yes, it did.
All right. He's going to find a place where there is a white wall.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
That way, people don't see the part of the vein.
Right.
That might be very identifiable.
Yeah.
For all the people that have been in the vein
Mm-hmm.
and would recognize it.
You never know.
All right.
There is a Marvel character that does the suits for everybody. Heroes, villains, and he was treated as a neutral ground. But he knew
that
everybody's
the short
secret
lady
identity.
with the bowl cut.
No capes.
No
Yeah.
kidding. But he will find a white wall or something like that and get their pictures taken.
Okay. So then, let me back up real quick. So you guys are going to wait the legal amount of time it takes to get the actual. Despite the fact you're fudging some details here, to get the actual paperwork in line. So that way, there's actual identities, there's actual passports ready to go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And even like real world, this stuff takes months to do, but greasing the right palms, it takes a couple of weeks.
So give me a resource roll, Dale.
Okay.
And before you roll, would you like to put any karma to this?
I already rolled, but wasn't going to do that.
Okay.
I did roll a 70.
Okay, so you're good. So you put a couple $1,000s into the hands of the same individual who created the paperwork that you needed for your identity. And he lets you know that within about 2 weeks, it should be, good to go, safe for usage or whatnot. It'll probably take longer to get into, government databases and whatnot, but the paperwork will still look legit and should get you past, through whatever security checkpoints that you need.
Excellent. Right.
I have a question for. Go ahead.
So purchasing the tickets for the flight over, what it does is the tickets will take you to Britain first. You'll drop off in London, and then from there you'll actually fly to the Ukraine. Which from the Ukraine you will fly over to New Prussia.
Okay.
So I have questions for you.
Okay.
The dream I had about the pearl,
Mm-hmm.
was that in the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific? Pacific.
Pacific.
All right. And he will get all of his stuff ready by the end of the day and let Ixion say whenever he's ready to go, he's ready to go.
Okay.
Ixion wanted to go, so.
All right, no problem. So we will have a brief interlude there then. It's going to take about 2 weeks. You guys do whatever it is that you're doing in this time frame, be it shopping or just spending money or paying bills or building things. So let me go through real quick. You've got 2 weeks during this time frame. Carmen, do you have anything specific you want to do?
Yeah, I would like to start working on augmenting my medical training.
Okay. How so?
I haven't figured out what the best avenue for that is. Maybe
nursing books?
Yeah, it probably would have to do like some actual book learning before anyone would let me like into a clinic or something. But I mean, I've already got some emergency medicine, but what I was reading earlier was the first aid talent looks like it's a lot more robust than emergency training.
Okay.
Which I thought was very peculiar. But either way, however it sounds like I could feasibly start down that road.
Sure. Okay.
Being a more effective healing resource in the field.
Well, you could obviously utilize mainframe then for that rather than the books to go over whatever detailed notes that Electrum would have left in there, which would probably be more pertinent for your usage because you're more interested in healing the folks around you, not so much just the everyday Joe, which you could probably handle already.
I guess nursing books probably wouldn't have a lot of stuff about crime fighting.
That is correct.
Injuries.
Right. They don't quite go into that scope. That is super niche. At this point, you'll have to wait for the internet to really fully flesh itself out before people make websites of that nature. Yeah, but you can definitely do that through mainframe.
Okay.
So that is something you can build towards another talent later if you'd like. So afterwards, provided we're not stopped mid-game, mid-sequence, the next time we stopped for a brief time lapse, you could spend 100 karma for another talent.
Okay.
Along those lines. Okay. Mark, outside of what it is you've already stated you're doing, is there anything in particular going to be doing for you or your company or anything you're working on?
Let's see. So as far as the company goes, just seeing where we're at with regard to the campaign to hire on power consultants.
Okay.
Making sure that that's going well, first off.
During this time frame, it is very slow going. For obvious reasons, people are not wanting to step forward. They don't really know your company, and people aren't willing to step forward, for the most part, to reveal themselves in that nature. So it is very slow going.
Gotcha. Do I know from anybody in my company, like, is there something we could be doing to enhance the company's like bottom line? Is there something we're missing that they know of?
That is something they can run some reports and figure out. Not something they would know now, but it is something they could do an extensive deep dive on where everybody's at, based on the expansions that you've made recently, and kind of give you a projected numbers crunch, which would probably be available to you by the time you get back.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. And then, oh, and I, of course, like authorize if I need to, Freddie's plans for like using her resources to make all that happen and all that, of course. What else? What else? What else? I wanted to do an experiment with Shone.
Okay.
So I'd go up to Shone and I'd let her know about wanting to experiment with her teleportation to see if I can create either or small teleportation warning devices. That way, like, because of teleporters that have come in before, we've kind of gotten a warning if we were near a lot of power lines. But
Right.
if we're not like that, what do we do? So that, as well as what was the other thing? Seeing if we could oh yeah, for Shone specifically, if I could develop a teleportation interference field like detector so that she's not like caught off guard anymore.
Okay. You can absolutely give that a shot. Shone, you won't need to make any power rolls, because he's just having you teleport, in place or nearby or something. He's more interested in picking up the decay, from your teleportation, to see if he can track it. So Dale, why don't you give me a hyper invention roll?
Cool. Okay. Would any talents like quantum physics help that?
We'll say yeah.
Sweet.
I'll allow for it.
All right. All right. So that turns it from incredible to amazing. 41. That is green.
Okay. So you're unable to make an actual device, at least a working device, but you have successfully developed blueprints that you are reasonably certain that when you have more time, you can put this together, and it's not going to be, at least since you're not doing it for mobile purposes, it's not going to be too onerous to place somewhere in the vein for detection purposes.
Okay.
So right now, your working device size is probably the size, like 2 times the size of a car battery.
Okay. And that's going to be because there are like the two options, one for detecting the interference field, and another to just detect the teleportation. Would this be for both of those things, or just one of them?
This would be for both of them.
Okay.
You'll have to make a separate roll to make a device specific to Shone, so that way it'll pick it up, and it'll basically allow it to identify for friend or foe.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Then and I'll be able to make that when I have more time then.
Yes. Well, and a device you can essentially tie it to say, okay, well, now can I have this register to the device and say, this is a friend, allow her in, sort of thing. Don't set off the alarm.
Gotcha. Okay. Then beyond that, I would just see if I could work on upgrading the veins landlines up to T1 quality or beyond.
Yes, you will be able to do that during this time frame.
Sweet. Okay.
Ixion, are you doing anything outside of accompanying your brother Freddie for his oceanic adventures?
I'd be taking an opportunity to, study and converse with him as we see different life,
Okay.
aquatic life and whatnot.
So
But he's probably
pulling a
a little
Jacques
bit more
Cousteau.
familiar. Yeah, because that's animal behavior and alien studies.
Sure. Okay.
These are alien animals.
That they are.
And getting samples, if I can possibly do that, since I can encapsulate, I can take a pocket of whatever.
Sure. Okay.
Speaking of, while in San Francisco, because that's going to be a good stop, a good jump off point, or is it more North Pacific
What's that?
for where the dream was leading me back to?
You're not sure. You just know it was Pacific.
Then yeah, it'll probably be San Francisco. He's going to pick up a few bags that has a plastic lining on the inside
Mm-hmm.
that could be considered watertight.
So you're going Ziploc bag?
Yeah, kind of like a Ziploc bag inside of another bag.
Okay.
The outside bag for durability, inside bag to keep in the water.
Okay.
He's going to pick up some of the water while he's down there. Like just let it flow into the bag and then zip it up.
Okay. No problem. And outside of your outside of the oceanic adventure, are you doing anything else?
We have to determine that once we get back, if it takes the full 2 weeks or if it's like 10 days.
No, it wouldn't take the full 2 weeks for the travel.
I'm systematically trying different animal shapes to see with my density to see which works best.
Okay.
Of course, I could manipulate like an air bubble within myself, almost like a swim bladder, but and since Freddie swims a little bit faster than I do, I'm sure, I want to be able to streamline as fast as possible. So, looking at probably like a large barracuda or shark or something along those lines that has some speed to it, since I can take different shapes. So
okay. And so is there anything else that you're doing during this time frame?
Nope.
Okay. So then show.
Oh, one thing I will make note though. I want to be listening to see because of my natural communication, like my natural means of communication, seeing what I'm hearing underwater. I know we've already established that there's similarities with like whale song, but other things like that I'm looking at to where I can see if I can manifest some of those sounds or, do something similar that way. And even
okay. Well, why don't you give me a reason check then?
Okay. Let's see. 30. Would I be able to add anything in with my animal studies, biology, genetics, alien studies, anything else like that?
Why don't you add your animal studies?
So animals or animal behavior, or alien studies, because they're just talents.
Yes, alien studies.
So add it, bump it up one
column shift.
So it goes from RM30 to incredibly. Got my contacts in, I can see. 75.
Okay.
Nice.
So
you are reasonably certain that you can replicate dolphin porpoise sounds.
Oh, cool.
Now you don't know what it is you're saying, but you could replicate that sort of type of communication. It's going to take obviously a lot more to figure out like just what it is they're saying.
Right.
Freddie will educate him on those sounds. Since he can speak to animals.
Can you speak to animals?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you're like, oh, means hello. Nice. Okay.
Oh, don't make that sound. Oh, no.
Right.
You don't want to make that sound.
You don't want to say that one. You
Yeah.
just called his mother something really bad.
Yeah.
He'll go through an explanation that the animals on Earth don't all think like humans do, but
Right.
porpoises and other mammals that swim do have higher brain functions, and they understand what an insult is, even if they don't understand the context of it. They may not know the words, but they understand that their mother has 3 blowholes is not a good compliment.
They understand threat too, so.
Right.
Okay.
So then, with that, between the two of you, Shone, what were you doing during this time frame?
She's
back
been
momentarily.
wanting to look at weaponizing Hyperion. So she would like to kind of look into see what kind of weapons could make for him.
Okay. So it's a great question. What are you using to do that with?
Well, she's got energy and particle, and then she's got weapon engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see if there's some way to make it like an energy weapon for him,
Okay.
where he could use it offensively and defensively.
Given your current knowledge base, you could make an offensive weapon, but making something defensive, it wouldn't be capable. You would need some sort of ability to, you would need the knowledge of like the manipulation of energy to that level, like being able to harden it like like Green Lantern shapes or whatnot, which you don't have right now. But weaponizing something is much easier.
Right.
So you can absolutely look at trying to build or trying to construct something that would work off of his frame.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and give a roll there? So give me a reason check. See what you can draft up.
I got a 96.
Okay. So you are 96% sure that the plans that you have come up with, it's basically a shoulder cannon that can fold back. Basically, it can fold back. It can't completely retract into his body, but it can at least fold back enough so that way it's not impeding his shoulder movement. But basically, it could come back into an upright position or lay down and tie into his optics specifically for targeting.
Yeah. High five.
Damn. Yeah, so with that, I go test that out in the danger room, of course, make sure it works and all that.
She's got blueprints for it. She hasn't actually put it together.
Got it.
Something like that would to speed that up. You would need your hyper invention to piece that all together.
Yeah, we would have to work together.
Yeah. Okay.
So definitely something you can do on when you come back.
Yeah. Cool.
But when she comes up with that, you're like, "Oh, that looks promising."
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, so with that, then you have received through your back channel, you have received the passports, both legal and shady, because not everyone needed an illegal passport. And you have purchased the tickets for the flight, so I'm assuming everybody is packing up to go for for a stay.
Exactly.
Jerome, I have a question. So is stepmommy still pissed?
Yeah, you have not heard from her.
Okay.
Oh, actually, during this 2 weeks, it's good that you have brought this up. Shield is in the news. The Shield has made the news because he is partnering up with the renowned journalist Meredith McCall to form, hold on one second, the Haven Institute. The Haven Institute is actually being, it's in the process of being built out. It will be a school to teach deviants how to control and how to work on acceptance. It is actually up in the New York area, so it is going to be back away from New York proper, up in the wooded area. But they are working on bringing in students, and of course it makes the news because deviant's bad. So that is what they are currently working on, and he has signed on to become the primary instructor.
Who's this?
The Shield.
Shield.
The old guy we saved.
Some
Shield and
guy named
Meredith are
Chuck
working
Chuck Xavier's School for the Gifted Youngsters.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if it's going to blow up every single movie they participate in. Just saying.
Right.
So they need to stay away from movies then.
Can we send some kind of like, I was thinking maybe flowers, like congratulatory something, but not flowers, because that seems weird for I mean, like some kind of a gesture to
Fruit
say
basket.
Of course.
congratulations and we support this kind of a thing.
What would you guys like to send? A fruit
Told you
basket?
we could send her that one dress I got in Paris.
I
It
mean,
could look good in the dress.
I don't want to volunteer funds, but I'm sure that's something that they could probably benefit from if we could spare them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they registering themselves as like a non-for-profit or like as literally a school where
Yeah,
can they receive?
It will be literally a school.
Okay. And like funded, then is it receiving federal funding or private funding?
It's privately funded.
Okay.
We could do a donation.
Good.
Can we send it from Legacy, or should we send it from just like put our names on it or something? What do you think?
We can either send
Or
it from
it's
us.
anonymous. Like I would like Meredith to know that it came from us, but the rest of the world doesn't need to know.
Well, then, should we then just do
Or
it as legacy then?
we could just say it from the kids.
Yeah.
He is not there for that conversation, but that's such a bad idea.
Okay, we could say from Legacy. I don't know. What do you think?
I think we should say it's legacy.
I agree. We can. Jerome, do I know about how much I'd be able to send to the New Haven Institute?
Give me another resource check.
70.
So you're pushing the limits of your EX20 resources at this point, but you could feasibly send her a check for 10,000, and it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't make that much of an impact on your currently utilized income.
Would I be able to send that in a channel where it's not obvious, like it literally came from like Mark Annette, but it's coming from just the legacy, more of an anonymous clandestine channel?
If you're going to do something like that, you would have to, if you would either have to convert it to cash and just have somebody deliver it with a note, or you'd have to send it through like a Western Union type of channel, and send, like an individual communication with like the note attached saying, it's from so-and-so, and it would just come from your company's bank account. which would probably be the safer bet of the two.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do that then. That should be fast and safe.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, everybody has gotten their clothing collectively together, or those of you who have clothing.
So what happens when I get to the spot in the dream?
Nothing as of yet.
Okay. Oh, you're still back in Strongford, right?
What's that?
The rest of us?
Never mind. I'm ignore me for a moment.
Okay. But with that being said, then everybody boards the plane for their trip to jolly old England, skipping across the pond via plane through legal channels, and then from there, you take the adjoining flight to the Ukraine, dropping off in the airport in Kiev. Which it's obviously very different going from New York to, or not New York, but from London to Kiev, because at this point they're still cleaning up Soviet propaganda around the country because they just recently got released. So there are still kind of holdouts of what it was like to live under the Soviet Union rule. Not many. I mean, they're still trying to do their best to, make it more cosmopolitan, in and around the airport. But the flight that's actually connecting you to New Prussia is actually a private flight. And you actually have to go to like a separate section of the airport, where like anybody going to this section of the airport, people are like watching you go, sort of thing. Like the only people who go to this section of the airport are those going to places that most airline companies won't travel to. So if you're going to this side of the airport, something is amiss there. It's usually worth like looking at those people going across. So like in this case, they're probably deviant. Even if they're not obvious about it, or they may have some sort of dodgy relationship with the law somewhere, and that they have to take this, adjoining flight to, somewhere else. This is
deviants? No, we're drug dealers.
yeah, right. Yeah, I know exactly. There's like, oh, okay, you're good then.
Surprisingly,
Yeah, I know.
We're in the cocaine and heroin trade. Oh, that's okay then.
Yeah, just keep that to yourselves, but we're okay with that, and just you guys can go. But so you were escorted through that section of the airport to a private flight, and then taking it off to at this point the connecting jaunt over into New Prussia. Now, when you land in New Prussia, world of different. Like there's not a speck of trash on the ground. The trees that you see here are lush. The buildings are in full repair. It's like you guys, jumped into, went from, a struggling third world country, that literally just struck off the shackles of the Soviet Union to a place that likely never saw it in the first place. Like this could pass for an upper metropolis, in a nice area of LA or New York or nicer ends of London. I mean, it is very, very attractive when you get here, very clean. Airport, not super busy, obviously so. But as the plane touches down, and the few other people that were on the connecting flight with you come off, as you step off, there is a lady standing there, motioning everybody forward. You're in a group of probably about 20, including yourselves. And she says, "Everyone, welcome to New Prussia. I will be your tour guide for the time being. We have accommodations for everybody currently set up. So if you will please kindly go over to the scanners adjacent to your left, they will of course make sure that there's nothing such as illegal contraband or any of those nasty things that you might have snuck past some of the other poorly secured airports." She winks with kind of a jovial look, but yeah, it's clear that they are aware that certain people coming here are probably doing so either out of duress or may have ulterior motives. She
Smuggling
is
something like a skeleton or something like that.
she is very well dressed and taken care of. She has some sort of like communication piece into her ear. There's several security guards off to the side, near what it looks much more like what a checkout point that you would find or a customs point, I should say, in an airport nowadays. So a little bit more advanced. It's got scanning equipment there to double check everything. And as everybody just coming through, it's not really beeping the scanner. It looks like it's just making sure you are who you are, expectation wise, or checking everybody's passports as you come in. Nobody who has come through really seems to get flagged for anything dubious or whatnot. Nobody's secretly carried off from the group. And then when you exit finally out of the customs area, the airport on the inside is semi-busy, but not from like passengers. It looks like more so for people coming in here for the shopping opportunities. So it's not like they're traveling; they're just in here for like brunch or whatever. And as soon as you exit, there are a couple buses already waiting for everyone, and they are they're Mercedes-Benz buses. So this is a very spare no expense sort of thing for the people coming in. And when you guys sit down, even each individual seat has like a little bit of air conditioning control and can warm up if need be. So these are like super plush. You wouldn't even find these in the States at this point, or anywhere where more where things are higher technology. You are taken from the airport as she's just pointing off some more common locations. There is a large statue of Reichshield in the very middle of the roundabout that's there, flanked by, as she says, Vakta and Beshuterin, which are two of the other national heroes. One female, one male.
Can you repeat those names?
What's that?
Can you repeat those names?
Beshuterin and Vakta.
Bless you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I will put those in the chat for you guys so you don't have to worry so much about that. Hold on a second. With their pronunciation too. And essentially what they mean.
I'm going to lean over to whoever's sitting next to me and say, I don't know what I expected, but so far it matches the brochure.
Pretty cool.
Oh, that was the wrong chat. That was directly to Justin. Let me do that again.
Haha, I win.
Well, there you go. So that works.
Go copy and paste.
Yes, thank you. But by the time you get here, the sun is just starting to set. From your from the layover and whatnot. But everything around here, it is. You see people with obvious deformities, and earmarks of what it is to be a deviant. You see people flying overhead occasionally, openly, either through unseen methods or, by, wingspan, or something of that nature. Like it is clearly very open to be deviant here. The hotel that they put you up at is obviously, state sponsored, but it looks like you would expect, like a top notch, a hotel anywhere else, like a Sheraton or some sort of nice, more resort kind of looking place. It's got the nice fountain out in the front, a roundabout. It's got a pool off in the area, and they've got, it's about 5 stories, made of red brick, looks really, really attractive. And she, ushers everyone in, and she says, please take the remainder of the night and unpack, get adjusted. We will have individuals around to those of you later. If you are here for business relation purposes, or you have other reasons for being here in New Prussia. Otherwise, in the meantime, please enjoy yourselves. And there are some quick rule guides posted in your hotel rooms for those people who are coming from nations that are, shall we say, not deviant friendly. This is to help get you acclimated and expectations. Quick, did anybody have any questions for me before I leave? Everyone's just kind of got the same kind of blank faces, kind of like looking around. And some people are like, yeah, this is really cool. Yes, you in the back.
Curiosity. What is the deviant to non-deviant percentage of citizens of New Prussia?
Oh, the last census we took, I believe it is roughly, don't quote me on this, I think it's 6 or 7 to 1. It may be a little bit more. We're still experiencing an influx of people coming, to escape oppression from other neighboring locations. So that obviously fluctuates some, here and there. But I think at last census take, that's what we're looking at so far.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
If you don't mind me asking, are you a deviant?
Oh, of course. You will not find any non-deviants here, with the exception of the wait staff, as well as perhaps some of the cooks that you might find, and some of the maybe some of the manual labor around town. Otherwise, you will likely not find any non-deviants around. And yes, and you, dear.
Are there dampeners to block certain abilities?
That is a great question. You will actually find some of that in your welcoming card and acclamations in your room. But there, to answer your question in brief, yes, around more secure facilities, you will find that that is in effect. Most of that's actually posted, however, so it's not like if you're walking up nearby and you don't know it's a governmental building, you're probably up to something you shouldn't be up to, and you're purposely ignoring some of the signs. But otherwise, no, we don't pull surprises of that nature, unless, of course, you are acting against the goodwill and laws of New Prussia, at which time inhibitor collars will be utilized. Otherwise, no, you are free to utilize your powers so long as they do not harm other citizens or visitors in the country.
Thank you.
And a question as well. Do you happen to know what are the main exports of New Prussia? You seem to be a very economically prosperous nation.
Currently, we are, that is something that we are in the process of right now. Our primary export is energy. Due to the fall of the Soviet Union, many of our neighboring countries are in sort of a crisis, as they will. The Soviet Union, when they were pulling away, stripped many of those resources from those countries. So Reich Shield has deemed it necessary and right that we help some of them in a neighborly fashion. So currently, that it is that, and I believe oil as well. Although I don't quote me for the specifics, I believe we do have some sort of a hand in that.
Thank you.
And so she kind of looks around, and and one guy says, "Hey, where's the bar?" She goes, "Ha ha ha." She says, "You'll find that there are several around town. We actually have 2 or 3 in downtown that I'm sure will wet your whistle. They have some of the best alcohols from around, as well as some homebrewed. However, you will also find that the wait staff here is adequately equipped with any sort of food or alcohol needs that you might need." She motions off to the side, at the nearby cafe. And she says, "Thank you all for coming and choosing to visit or stay with the New Prussia. And I hope that your stay is a good one." And she motions to 2 of the guys who are with you, security, but I mean they didn't really have heavy weapons of any nature. And she motions with them. They both get into one of the same buses, and the buses drive away.
Were we each given a separate room, or are
Yes.
some of us in this? Okay.
You were all given a separate room.
Right. We should head to our rooms, get adjusted, and be ready for our activities.
Am I and Ixion back already? Or are we still in the ocean?
No, you guys were on the flight. Yeah, you're already back.
Okay.
So apparently your results are pending.
Yes.
That's why I was a little confused a bit earlier, is I didn't know if we'd gotten back already and then other stuff, or if
No,
we were still swimming.
Yes. So you are here in New Prussia with everybody.
I'm learning how to speak dolphin.
Are you guys swimming to New Prussia?
It's Ixion's going around going, ee, ee. We're all like, stop.
Yeah, as
Maybe-
you guys are getting your suitcases and whatnot and walking in, you can see somebody who is like almost made of water walking out of the pool area with the bikini on, but the bikini is like covering up basically
Water.
water.
It's a humanoid shaped blob of water.
And she just walks inside, and shortly after getting inside, so she's not tracking herself all around the hotel, she materializes.
Nudge Ixion in the ribs.
Just the way he said it is hilarious to me.
I'm glad I can contain myself better than that.
Well, some people do like to let it all out. What you'll do is he'll get his little mobile lab set up for testing water and stuff like that.
Okay.
Make sure everything's accounted for, and anything that is unaccounted for, he'll try and see if he can't get those from the government itself by calling through the hotel lobby and seeing if that is a possibility. That's assuming I missed something.
I'm sorry, what are you trying to do?
Like, when he goes through, he's making sure he has all of his testing equipment.
Yeah.
So litmus strips, vials for holding water and testing water, stuff like that.
Yeah, none of that would have been held back. So you would have been allowed to keep all of that.
I'm gonna kind of lean in towards the group. think they've bugged the rooms?
I would count on it.
So we need to figure out someplace where we can talk freely.
He
Is
goes.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Is it possible, Carmen, for you to communicate with several of us at once?
I'm not sure. I don't think I've tried that before. Jerome, do you know if that's possible?
Through telepathy?
Yeah.
You could certainly try.
I'll try it.
It is a basic use of the power. It's no different in a sense of, lifting a heavier load. It's just, do you have the strength to do it?
But again, this is just a one-way telepathy, right? It's not two-way.
No, it's two-way. I mean, if you connect with them, they can communicate back to you. Yeah.
So like a party line.
Yep. Yeah, like Professor Xavier.
And while she's doing that, he's going to check the rules and look through telepathic communication and see if there's anything in the pamphlets and the rules that they gave to us about that.
Oh, that's a good idea. I was going to ask if Freddie and I tried to do it together, would we have like a bonus for rolling?
The higher of the two could roll. So what do you have for telepathy?
Mine is just good.
Okay, and what do you have?
Remarkable.
So his is actually too high to combine, so he should be the one trying it.
Yeah, he should. So why doesn't
Come
he?
on!
I will look in the rules for
72 on a
72.
remarkable.
Okay. You are able to one by one establish a connection telepathically with everyone.
I like yellow results.
Nice.
You're all yellow.
And no, there's nothing in here specifically that prevents anyone from speaking telepathically. In fact, the packet that you have, which is just kind of like not even a packet, it's like a laminated welcome card. Really only the main thing it touches on is, some common sense things like, if the, an authority figure comes to you, don't use your powers on them, like that sort of thing. Don't attempt to use powers or influence on other individuals. Otherwise you're, free to be who it is that you are. There's also a number that guests can contact if for some reason they have problems controlling it, or they have some sort of disability, like one of which, they say, perhaps you leak of radiation, or you have problems controlling fire, and you are you transform into it. There's a number that you can call or somebody you can reach that somebody will come and assist you with that. It's like a specific medical team.
Okay, so telepathically, I'm going to assume that the ship is probably in one of the government buildings that I cannot teleport in.
I would assume so.
More than likely.
It would
I also.
seem
Oh, go ahead.
it would seem that the ship is either near or underneath the Capitol building, if our previous indications are correct.
I just wanted to point out that as beautiful as this place seems, I would be highly surprised to find if it's the same throughout. I would guess that it's
More than
simply
it seems.
a facade, like a propaganda town, to put a nice face on their business here. Also, I'm highly interested in how they treat their non-deviants.
Superpowered beings. We are not
I would-
deviants.
I would venture to assume that these appearances are merely a sugar coating, at least to some degree.
I agree.
Yes, It has all the feelings of 1930s Germany.
Exactly. My thought was North Korea, but same difference.
Is North Korea that bad at this in the 90s?
I'm guessing we probably don't know yet, but Brittany was thinking about North Korea.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if the ship is in one of the government buildings, how are we going to get
can we get a tour, do you think?
of the government buildings?
I mean, obviously not the restricted areas, but it would be something. Get us closer.
I'm interested in seeing the state capitol.
We can go for that. It will also change what we're able to do if they have technology that can inhibit powers as you enter a building. Jerome, is there anything within like the welcome card or anything that indicates like that's the case, that certain government buildings they just shut off powers when you enter or anything like that?
No, the card doesn't mention anything like that. You can reasonably assume something like that might happen. And the individuals who have a reason for being there, that they have a way around that.
We will more than likely be outmatched with regard to powers if we try to enter restricted areas, which would more than likely be most, if not all, government facilities. Therefore, we do need to do reconnaissance first, as much of it being mundane, I believe, as possible, if we want to look into the state capital, especially.
More than likely, you will probably in the next day or two get an invite to have a government tour. Given that that's your reason for coming here is to scout out for a new location, the government is going to put on a nice little show for you, show all the nice bells and whistles, show you how superpowered beings are given preferential treatment here. During that, I'm going to be doing what my very public appearance is going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of water tests and checking on the ecology to make sure it can sustain a larger population without a substantial hit.
While that's happening, shown, you may want to take the opportunity, if possible, to teleport to different locations, get a lay of the land, see where your powers work, where they don't, and that way you know where to go if we need you.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing.
At least know of the closest vantage points that you can teleport. And
Precise.
the two of us that would need to access my ship, that would only, though I would be the fastest and most adept at navigating that piece of equipment, the only other that would have a remote chance of even piloting that would be Hyperion, because he could interface with the computer itself. No one else here has the physical structure to be able to interface properly, other than electronically.
So there's no way for you to communicate with your ship since we're this close?
What was it, Jerome, that we had said that was there a way that I could reach out to it if I'm closer? Wasn't there something that way?
I Not necessarily. You could attempt to do radio, like communicate on the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
But you almost have to assume that that's being jammed.
Is it
Right.
on?
It would be in a dormant mode.
Would it be responsive to you the closer that you are, and would that be detectable to any monitoring that it's
That's
currently?
what I was kind of getting at.
It
So
is
perhaps,
unknown what their monitoring systems are capable of.
so
Is it
perhaps I
possible?
should.
Perhaps, but
Well, what if you were to teleport with me and you try to communicate, see if we get a hit?
it is possible. And I can try while we are traveling through the surrounding area periodically or at each building, see if I can send a mental probe, if you will, a communication
While this
signal.
conversation is going on, he's going to be actively monitoring to see if he can detect if anyone's trying to peek in on the conversation.
Go ahead and give me a psyche check.
87 on an incredible.
Okay. You aren't detecting any other thoughts.
Okay. But he is being proactive in making sure the mind's connected or the minds he knows.
Sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I'm just thinking. Jerome, there's a map in the rooms, right? With the little thing that says you are here.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah, it's a very
so
basic map, but yeah, of
does
the
it
city.
show the government buildings?
No.
Like it would show probably just the capital.
Yeah,
but
it just shows the buildings. It's a brief map of like what's around. So like the hotel and some, like restaurants and some places you might want to go visit, like parks and things of that nature.
This is going to
Mhm.
be interesting. As long as I
Well,
don't teleport us into a building, like into a building or a tree.
You may want to consider teleporting simply to the tops of the largest buildings to get the greatest line of sight view.
Yeah, but what happens if my powers are dampened and we can't get down?
Then I'm sure there will be a method for you to actually leave the top of the building.
Or someone will be coming to pick you up and asking you, why did you go up there? In which case your answer will always be, oh, I just wanted to see the city from this point of view. Which is true.
This will also give us a vantage point and more of a map on which areas are teleport friendly.
Okay.
Excellent. Then it seems that we all have our roles for the time being. There's not much we can do without attaining further information and reconnaissance, which should be our goal for the moment.
Well, Ixion, do you want to head out first thing in the morning?
I will.
absolutely. You may come and, if you can, teleport within my room, and I will be waiting.
Okay.
And if anyone asks why you're teleporting around, it's the first time you've actually had a chance to stretch your abilities to their maximum.
I like that.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of going to do anyways if anybody asks.
I would also suggest, Ixion, just be yourself. Don't worry about putting on a humanistic facade. That way we seem much more pro SPB than we already are.
Is my identity as Ixion my true self? It would
Well,
not.
that's a philosophical question.
I am Ixion.
Then just be yourself, whichever it may be. the one thing we do not want them to do is to think that we're trying to throw on a pretty face. If
My
they see
only
that you're
worry is that the broadcast in which I was televised in the United States, in Rockford, they would tie us to that.
I don't think that'll be a problem. If not, they wouldn't have let me in.
That is true. Very well.
Because I am very anti against what this government is doing. And I have made public before I joined the Legacy, I've made that abundantly clear. Although I figure they're going to attempt to change my mind on the subject matter here in the next few days.
They're sure putting up quite a pretty picture.
Yep, it's lipstick on a pig.
We shall see soon, I'm sure.
All right, I'm going to break this off for now. Everyone should get some sleep tonight. Tomorrow is going to be probably going to be a very, very propaganda-heavy day for y'all. Assuming that they don't drag me along and try to keep me away from the waters.
Duly noted.
Well, do my usual thing and put the plug down in the bathtub and go to sleep.
Okay.
Are there any like public computers to access that can like access the internet or anything in the area?
No, nothing like that. But all the rooms do come equipped with beds that have adjusting comfort levels.
Okay.
Do they have TVs in the rooms?
They do.
I'm curious what kind of programming they have.
Okay. Well, so you flip it on. Right now, they're in the process of showing what appears to be a Leave It to Beaver type sitcom, but it has deviants in it. Although not shot in black and white, obviously.
Oh, Firestarter.
But in essence,
Am I able to maintain?
Am I able to maintain?
Yeah.
Am I able to maintain my solid state while sleeping, or what would count as my sleeping?
What would define solid state? Do you mean like in a humanoid form, or?
Yeah.
No.
So when I'm unconscious or asleep, then I puddle,
Yep.
essentially.
You were a puddle.
Do I stay contained, or would I like if I was on an incline, would I?
Yeah, you are in essence you are a liquid. So if you are an incline, you will slide.
Run off.
Yep.
Okay.
Should we call for a bucket?
Bathtub's
he
fine.
has an ice bucket in his room already.
I'm bigger than an ice bucket, for crying out loud.
Do you need 2 ice buckets? Can you divide yourself?
I don't know.
As he is one and the same, he would not be able to do something of that nature. He does not have the I forget what it's called. It's not serial immortality, but something like that.
I'm not quite like the T2000 or whatever it is, the liquid metal that can rejoin itself. If I were to do something like that, then it would actually be caused by injury. I might be able to reabsorb myself, but it would be a matter of healing, not as just a reabsorption, I would assume. Correct?
Right.
Jerome? Like I could reabsorb myself, but it would be like scar tissue almost that would have to heal.
That would be the equivalent of losing a limb.
Yeah.
So, is anybody else doing anything for the evening, or are you calling it a night?
It's a night.
He double checks his equipment, make sure it's all there.
Yeah, it's all
And
there.
he'll even start setting up like sample bottles. If there is a map, he's going to start labeling like the different rivers and different any connecting body of water. Being a science nerd at that point.
Sure, that's fine.
I'm gonna pop down to the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably do that too.
All right. So you two pop down to the cafe that's down there. It's got several people eating or drinking or whatnot. It's pretty chill, with the exception of the fact that you see a guy who's skating across the surfaces everywhere. It appears that he, and it's the surface itself. It's almost as if the surface is treated as if it's slick, despite the fact that it may have like a painting on it, or a lamp or something. Like he just kind of like over it, like you would kind of expect somebody skating across ice.
Bobby Drake. It's been so long.
Can we like the tour guide said that like the wait staff and the cooks are presumably human. Do
Mhm.
they look any different? Do they seem like, are they marked in any way?
No.
They just look normal.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do an empathy check to just kind of see how they're feeling emotionally?
Sure. So go ahead and roll. You're going to target with your psyche.
Okay. 56 on remarkable.
So that puts you well into the green. So you're only able to pick up one person initially. It's the bartender.
How's it feeling?
Kind of meh. He's happy to be working, but he's a little alarmed at the amount of deviants that are here.
Does he have a name tag?
He does, yes.
What is his name? I don't care what his name is, but like, does it look like he's a native or is it like non-Prussian?
That's hard to say. I mean,
Is it
you're basically looking at somebody and saying, "Just how white are you?"
I know, but like, short of asking him if
I mean,
Is it Chekhov or is it
his
Steve?
Yeah.
Well, you said you didn't care about the name.
well, I mean
That's
like
what it said. But his name is Ivan.
okay. I
So-
mean
So he could be.
Eastern European, but not out of the realm of possibility. Either way. Okay. Well. Okay. Well, I guess we'll order some dinner.
Yeah. I'm really interested in those around us. I'm gonna people watch.
Okay. Most of them here look like they could probably pass for human. You have one person here, however, looks very reptilian, humanoid reptilian, not like full on, monstrous looking face sort of thing. But he's just kind of quietly, keeping to himself and relaxed in his chair a bit and drinking.
Never seen so many in one place before.
And so unashamed.
Yeah. Bad the rest of the world couldn't be like this.
I would expect most people that come here feel the same way we feel about that.
Part of me really hopes that this is real.
I agree, but I think we know too much.
Yeah.
It can't be.
What's that saying you guys have? too good to be true than it is. I'm curious as to why they want so many here.
I would think that it's the obvious answer.
And then you end up seeing the doors to the patio come flying open, not like kicked open, but like flying open as a guy who looks very also looks reptilian, but not in a noticeable way, like in the sense of like you could look at it and say, oh, that's a crocodile or whatever. He just looks like a humanoid reptile sort of thing, but he has large leathery wings and noticeable like elongated fingers with claws that kind of come off. And all he's wearing is just like beat up shorts. As he comes walking up, and he's just like, bartender, give me something, I don't know, German, drink wise, something stout. And he's like, oh, of course, right away. And you sound the accent you hear from the guy sounded kind of Russian, European-ish. And he, slides him a drink, and he, takes it. He just starts, and he pounds it, and he's just like, ah. And he's just like looking around. And he's like, damn, it's good to be in New Prussia. And he's like, he's tall enough that he takes up like two separate kind of chairs, like pull-out chairs. And so he just takes a table by himself, and his wings are still out. He hasn't pulled them completely close, and he's kind of pushes one chair out so he can stretch out his legs and sets down the other one. And he motions to some other person who's bussing the tables. He's like, hey, change the channel, turn it to that I don't know, that Beaver ripoff show or whatever it was.
You didn't want to fucking that was no, he thought what that was doing.
Your microphone seems to be switched, so you might want to change it back.
Yeah, hold on.
Or switch it to push to talk.
We lost her.
Oh no! Ah! I was waiting for that, by the way. I'm not even visible at the moment. Oh, now I'm visible.
Hit the wrong button.
Hold on. Come here, Hope. Have you up here? Look out.
My
So the guy at this point, changes the channel for him on the TV.
Am I still reading the emotions of the bartender, or did I drop that?
Yeah, you dropped it.
Okay. Then I won't bother starting again.
Okay.
I'm gonna lean close to Joan and say, do you want to talk to anyone while we're here?
that one over there in the corner. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, when you talk directly into it, I can.
The one in the corner? I don't think I want to talk to the guy with
Okay.
kind of frightened.
I mean, a little bit. But I'm also very curious.
About him. About him?
I mean, clearly he's from our part of the world. What is the Jerome? Obviously, like people here can speak English, but like, is that like to be expected, or are they all? Is that just like because we're in a touristy area or what?
It depends. You have to understand that even in this period of time, a lot of people learned English because it was the language to learn.
Right.
If you wanted to get anywhere, because obviously, if you wanted to get to America,
Business.
or England or whatnot, or even in many parts of Germany proper, they learned English because that was the thing. So
it's not unusual that a lot of people are speaking English.
no.
Not unusual. Oh, sorry.
I mean, we don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want to, but
Well, it'd be kind of interesting to find out where they're from and why they came.
right, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I guess talk boy. Curious.
And now I'm not sure how I want to approach this. This was never my thing.
How you doing?
You do it.
Yeah, that's right. Just contact your inner Joey.
There you go.
Well, maybe start with hi.
I mean, like, do we go over there? Do we like
How
I don't
far is he from us, Jerome?
have a
I
drink?
mean, he's in the room, so he's not more than maybe 20, 30 feet. He's just another section of the room.
People are
Camped out at his own table.
How many people are here?
5, not including him.
Okay, so not very many.
Not in the cafe per se. There's also the two. There's the wait staff. There's the bartender and the person who is bussing tables, which would make 7, not including him. And then there's probably some people out on the patio, but you can't really make out who's out there.
I got this. Hey, I like your wings.
So he's like turns and looks around. He doesn't have any hair on his head. He's all bald too. And he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks." Kind of unfurls them and lets them, come out a little bit, which the wingspan takes up, a good bit of the room for a second before he only pulls them back in.
Yeah, I always thought it would be cool to have wings.
Yeah, I was told it was a curse, but yeah, forget those guys.
Are they are they always there?
He like turns and looks around, looks at you when he asks that, and he looks at his body and he says, "I sure hope so. I
mean,
don't recall them being detachable. That would be a weird power to have, I guess. Detachable wings."
I mean, like, can you like go back and forth? Or is it just this all the time?
Oh, you mean like those fortunate guys that can pass themselves off as flat scans? No, I'm not that kind of guy.
So how do you get around outside of a place like this?
I don't understand the question.
Well, you said that you're always looking like this. You can't look, what you call them, flat skins.
Flat scans.
I take it that's like,
You're kind of cutting out there. You'll have to pull a microphone a bit closer to you.
that a flat skin, is that kind of like me?
Are you saying you're not deviant?
Flat scan.
No, I'm a deviant.
Then you're not a flat scan.
Oh, scan. I thought you skin. I'm sorry.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm a Canuck.
Hmm.
Toronto, specifically.
Nice.
You?
Colorado.
Ah, you're one of those Fairside folks, aren't you?
Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, we heard all about that over here. U.S. government trying to flex their muscle. I'm not surprised you're here. Shoot, I'm surprised you didn't get here sooner.
Yeah, it kind of sucked.
How long have you been here?
No, I've been here from the start. You kidding me? As soon as he opened the doors, I was here.
What's it been like?
He like looks around. He's like, fantastic.
I mean, it looks pretty nice, but I mean, that's just what they want us to see, right?
Well, I mean, everybody would want to see this. It's great. I've got a job. I don't have to worry about being mocked or people throwing bottles at me or screaming to take their kids on the other side of the street.
Makes sense. What
Do you
kind
have
of
any-
job?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What kind of job they have you doing?
Weird. Wonder why that turned off. Huh. Okay. He says, "Oh, I'm a part of the defense force."
Like the army kind of a thing?
He's like he points to the wings. Air
The
Force. Air
Air
Force.
Force?
I'm not a ground pounder.
I mean, I wouldn't be either if I could fly.
Obviously, out of character knowledge, bat wings or feathered?
Yeah, no, they were reptilian looking.
All right. So
leathery wings.
leathery
Mhm.
wings.
Have a name?
Oh, you can call me Blackwing.
Black. I'm Shown.
Hey, what's up, Sean?
Carmen.
Oh, so you've got you two got like regular names? Did it come with like any cool code names or anything like that?
Are we supposed to?
It's kind of a thing here. It's like the whole
I'll have to-
rebirth, like, be yourself sort of thing. No pressure. No pressure. No one's
I mean,
no one's passing you the doobie or anything of that nature and making you toke.
Do you have to like decide and like stick with it? I mean, like, do you have to like register it or something?
Well, I mean, they encourage you to register it, but yeah, I didn't even think
Everybody
about
has
that.
the same one.
I guess you could change it.
What if somebody has the same one?
Oh, they help you with that. They make sure that there's like, some sort of, different spelling or whatnot.
Huh.
Kind of like your name.
Well, I don't know. I guess that's something I'll have to think about carefully. I don't want to pick something dumb.
Good point. Yeah, kind of like that red hand guy. Have you run into him yet?
No, what's that?
He thinks himself as a superhero, I guess. That he wanders around saying he's the red hand, and when anybody asks him, he's like, oh, so you have like a red hand? And he says, no, I have prismatic spray. Yeah, his power is rainbow. So I have no idea what red hand means.
Interesting.
Hey. Well, I guess in a country full of special people, there's always gonna be a few people extra special.
Right. And there's no abundance or no there's no shortage of helmets for some of these people.
I'm just curious. So, are you considered government personnel?
Not exactly. Not like I'm just one of the soldiers.
Any tips on newbies?
Tips for newbies. Good question. Don't look Bishuterin in the eyes. She's got kind of a dominance thing. I don't get it. And don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things.
Noted.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for the introduction.
Eat yellow snow.
Yeah. Best of
Yummy.
luck, to whatever it is that you're here for. Oh, and be sure to try the food.
Anything specific?
Well, German, obviously. I mean, that's one of the things they specialize here. But they managed to bring in some decent chefs from Italy, and a couple escaped from Russia.
Okay.
So we got some good cuisine choices.
Thanks, Blackwing.
Hey, no problem. So he goes back to watching the TV and pounding his drink.
Well, that was interesting. What do you think?
I don't know, about what I expected, I guess.
I have a feeling everyone else is going to tell us the same thing.
Yeah, sure feels weird to talk about this stuff openly.
Yeah. Well, should we head up?
Yeah, I think the jet lag's getting me.
Yeah. And I think Ixion is expecting me before the birds start singing.
Okay. Then let's head back.
Okay.
All right. And so then with that, two of you go back to your rooms to crash out on the bed. The next morning rolls around. You guys wake up. There is a bit of traffic outside down the main street. People commuting, going
In
to
part.
some, yeah.
Gonna pop into his room.
Poof.
Ixion. Hello?
He gurgles out from the bathtub.
Are you awake?
Always, in some matter or form.
Are you decent?
It depends on what you would consider my indecency versus decency.
Let's not test that out.
You see essentially every part of me. There is no difference between my molecular structure. What you see is what you get, so to speak.
Well, that clears up that mystery. So are you
We are
ready?
not asexual, but we must join. We're similar to
Amoeba?
almost to a amoeba, similarly, but we are not. We require one of another of the opposite gender.
How can you tell the gender if you guys all look alike?
It's obvious when you are one of us.
Oh, okay.
It's a matter of frequency of exhibiting tones.
You want to see if Hyperion wants to join us?
I am fine either way.
Yeah, let's go see if he's awake.
I believe he isn't considering what he is. He is similar to myself, always in some semblance of state of awareness.
Yeah, I keep forgetting he's mostly machine. Let's go knock on his door. So, bing, 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 bing.
Okay, there's a knock at your door, Hyperion.
I open it up, fully dressed, ready to go.
Okay.
Shown. Ixion, are we ready?
Yeah, I was wondering if you wanted to go with us.
Oh, on your teleportative journeys.
Yes.
We can, yes. I may need to return shortly to see if I receive any communiques, but let us proceed.
Okay. Maybe we should start at the roof of this building, kind of get an idea of where we want to go. So, gonna poof us up to the rooftop.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and um, give me well, hmm. Give me give me your teleportation check.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll for that.
45. Not a remarkable.
Okay, and why don't you give me an agility check?
34 on an unearthly.
Okay.
Jeez.
So you teleport blindly up to the roof because you haven't actually seen it. And you're off by a couple feet. So there's a little bit of a fall, but thankfully you don't like miss it or teleport into anything. So, poof.
Whoops. Sorry about that, guys.
No issue. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we would be doing this. That way, you can make more perfect teleportative jumps.
Out of character, she goes above the spire and it like impales me, but I just kind of go around it and I just scream as if I've been impaled.
Terrify her.
Ah!
That's for the
And then
April
just
Fool's Day episode.
yeah, and then just kind of go. Whoop.
And as you guys are up there, you end up seeing a craft fly overhead. Still several hundred feet up in the air, but looks like it doesn't look like an aircraft you would normally see from like any form of military, like jet fighter craft or whatnot. Looks like it probably has a vertical takeoff and landing capabilities.
Does it look like a military craft or more of a commercial like transport craft?
No, it looks like a military craft.
Are there
You think- oh.
nuances that look similar to my ship?
No.
Okay.
Well, that kind of interesting. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
I'm wondering if that's what they're hoping to do with the ship.
I would venture to assume that they are looking to utilize the technology on my ship.
In fact, if you had to guess, it's probably comparable to the craft that you had at the Vane.
So it has like standard VTOL technology, like what kind of exists? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean a little bit higher tech though. It doesn't look like a Harrier. It looks more advanced, although smaller than the ship that you guys have had.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Where would you like to go next?
Put out a signal. See if I get anything back.
Okay. So you don't get any signal back.
Good building.
Perhaps we should pick something closer to the center of the city.
As long as I can see it.
Are you limited as far as how often you can teleport?
You know, I've never out teleported myself before. That is unknown.
Something else we can test. See what you can do with short jumps that you can see, sticking to the tops of buildings if possible.
Okay. So she's gonna teleport him to 2 buildings over.
Okay. So I'll make you roll for that. You can actually see where you're going. So give me an endurance check.
Every time we jump, first thing I'm going to do is send out a signal.
Okay.
40, 45 on an incredible.
Okay. So this is kind of taxing, the multiple jumps, the way you're doing it. But you can handle it for right now. The equivalent for you is walking a distance through a parking lot with several bags of groceries.
Okay.
You're pulling it off, but you're feeling some weight.
Okay.
So you're releasing more of a signal, trying to check, for connection or whatnot, and no connection.
So I'm gonna get us closer to the state or the Capitol building.
Okay, go ahead and roll again. As you're kind of skipping around on the rooftops, you guys end up seeing there are some people who are flying like individually, and like one woman is flying with 2 children, and she's kind of holding in her hands, and they have their school bags with them.
Got a 100.
Okay. So she's taking them to school. You're popping further along, going downtown and whatnot. You pass up the school in question. As you go by, you can see that some are being flown in, some are being driven in and whatnot. But just looks like any old schoolyard. Just the kids don't all look human. And as you get closer to, like, you bypass that, Mark, why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check, or intuition.
Gotcha.
Don't have perception in this game.
Only 20.
Steve,
All
nothing's
right. So you're busy taking in the sights.
Yeah.
So you end up
You're
stopping.
going,
So you end up stopping
"Ooh,
on top.
ah."
You end up stopping on top of a church. It's got the church bell and like a clock, kind of tied to it, sort of look. Really nice, all the neighborhoods around here. And before you guys know it, you end up seeing that craft flying back over, and it's almost on top of you guys at this point.
Think we did something that we were not supposed to?
Not as
Unknown.
far as the rules.
You may want to teleport us down to the street level.
Okay. Poof.
Okay, so you teleport down to street level. At this point, you guys are on the street. You're right in between a couple shops. For like clothing and baked goods and whatnot. And some red lights start flashing on the craft and kind of flickering a bit, very police-like.
Think we're in trouble.
We should stay here. We should be able to talk to the individuals involved and see what their security forces are like.
So two
Very well.
individuals drop down out from the craft. They have jet boots and a stabilizing jetpack. But the uniforms, they're all matching and whatnot. They touch down, and they, one of them holds out his hand and he says, "Halt."
I like those uniforms. Those are rad.
And the 2 guys look to the two of you, and they said, "We've detected an illegal broadcast coming from the vicinity of your teleportations."
Really?
Really?
Well, I've never tested to see if my teleports did something like that.
So the other guy is, he pulls out like a what appears to be some sort of pad, and is kind of looking at it as he's the other guy is paying attention to the three of you, and then he points at Ixion.
Yes.
You hand over the communication device.
I have no communication device.
Then how, out of character, then how were you making the how are you attempting to communicate
It's
with
my
the ship?
communication. We had stated that that's how I communicate. That's how I could communicate through like the higher frequency vibrations.
So you were audibly making those noises.
If that's what it was.
Because that's not how it was described. That's why you guys needed the actual radio frequencies to tune in for that back at the base. So you have to have a communications device in order to do that.
And we all
Oh,
got
okay.
one.
Well, we don't. Do we have a communication device? Out of character? Here?
If you were attempting to ping your vessel, then yes.
Oh.
Like your key fob, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Are those not allowed? Because that's kind of how we keep in touch.
That is not a known frequency, so that would not be somehow, that would not be a way that you keep in touch. So the other individual starts calling something in.
We are new to New Prussia. We weren't aware that there were frequencies that were illegal. Is there a reason for that?
And you can hear in the distance another craft coming.
Yes, please forgive my ignorance.
Hand over the device.
I turn to Ixion. Do as he says. It's all right.
I act as if I'm silver. Like he can see my, like there's nothing on me, obviously. So I reach out my hand and it's in my hand now.
Okay. So the other individual takes the device and they put it into a side pouch. It said, "Consider this your warning. Don't do it again. Don't recreate the device. Stop attempting to ping the signal around the city."
Understood. Thank you, officers.
And so the other craft comes and hovers, and stays near, and as they see the two officers are returning back to the vessel, at that point they follow kind of in tandem a little ways before they split off and they start flying around the city again.
Oh, that was a bust.
I disagree. This is excellent information that we've just obtained. We now know that they are on constant patrol. They have technology that allows them to individually fly. They also have technology that allows them to immediately find Ixion's signal, and therefore, we are sure they are hiding his ship here. This is a confirmation. I consider this a success. However, we of course can't now locate it directly, but we already knew a general location where it would be. We simply need to use a different way. And in the future, we can recreate your device, simply not within these borders.
Yes.
We also know now that teleportation is not illegal.
Oh yeah, they clearly didn't care that you were teleporting.
Now what, boss?
At this point, I suggest you continue your teleportative journeys to again get a better lay of the land and to determine if there are any locations that seem to be off limits with regard to teleportation. You may not need us to follow you at this point, but if you'd like, one of us can join you. You seem to be winded once or twice during our teleportation. Are you okay?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's kind of like running a marathon.
Make sure not to overexert yourself. You need your services in an emergency.
Yeah, let me bounce a couple more times, and then I'll call it good for today.
Excellent.
Okay. And so are you taking them with you when you do that, or are you taking them back to the hotel?
No, I'm gonna take him with in case she hits one of those government buildings.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and
Criterion
so
social skills.
why don't you go ahead and at this point give me an endurance check? Because you're only teleporting where you see, so I'm not too concerned with that right now.
85.
Okay. So you're able to bounce around a bit more with them in tow. You're getting pretty winded at this point. But thankfully the stop that you guys had allowed you to catch your breath. But you pop around a little bit. You can tell even from above, it's easy to spot buildings that you're not supposed to be around. They've taken great, I mean, militarily speaking, probably not the smartest idea, but they've taken great pains to ensure that buildings are marked so you don't just wander in and set off a warning and get yourself in trouble. So, and these buildings are all clearly like they've got some sort of designator and a light on top of the building, or if you're on the ground, there's clearly signs, written in a couple of different languages, like don't enter, forbidden, verboten, sort of thing. You also end up spotting a rather run-down section of the town, which also is marked off limits.
I wonder what happened over there.
You can.
Does it seem like there's damage over there?
Yeah, the buildings are kind of they're in disrepair. They're not in great condition.
Do they look like war ravaged and just have not been rebuilt?
Not perhaps, but not recent.
It sounds like it looks like more of like a ghetto, but kind of militarized.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There are checkpoints and whatnot, and as you kind of pop around and can see above, it looks like that's where the regular humans are housed.
In here, and after we stop at one point and we're looking at that, Tyrion goes, "In here is where we see what I believe was the case. Frankly, we already know that Reichshield is a sociopath. He murders individuals on television. Yes, he's made a near paradise empowered individuals here, but at the expense of simply swinging the pendulum of social power the other extreme. Now, any human being here is either a common laborer or worse, and treated with just as much, if not less, respect than empowered are in the United States."
I think maybe he's gathering an army without them realizing it.
I believe many of them do realize it, and many of them would be willing to do what it takes to have their freedom at the expense of the humans who oppressed them previously.
Carmen and I went down to the cafe last night, and we met this winged reptilian kind of guy. His name is Blackwing, and he says that he's kind of like part of the Air Force.
If he can fly, that would make sense. It would seem that those who don't naturally have flight powers, such as the officers we met, would require such vehicles. We've also seen individuals flying, carrying children, and those driving cars. They simply use means, power-based, technology-based, that they need.
Yeah, but he
They simply have the
works.
freedom to use their powers.
From what we gathered, he works for this place. He actually has a job, and his job requires him to fly around. Carmen asked him if he was like in the army, and he said no. He's in the Air Force. So I'm wondering if maybe one of us could apply for maybe a position within the government, whether it be like, like a secretary or something.
It would take an extended period of time and an additional degree of legal paperwork or more clandestine paperwork. If they do any type of background check that's more extreme, they may determine who you actually are or realize that that is fake. At the same time, it would take a significant amount of time. You would first have to become a full citizen here, I'm sure, before being a part of their armed forces.
No, I was just trying to think on how we could get inside.
Understandable. We may need to talk to more individuals who are used to this area.
Is there any way for us to use um our corporation? See if we can't get like a pass or something to their laboratories.
Freddie was mentioning earlier that it's likely that they would contact me shortly. I am a business owner. I'm sure that they would be interested in power-based technology. See what Quantum Unlimited is actually about.
Why don't
So
we teleport back so that you catch that call?
I agree.
Okay. Hold on. And poof.
Oof. You are back in Hyperion's room.
Yep.
Justin, so during this time frame, what were you doing?
He's actually expecting some government official to show up, as nature surveys tend to go.
Gotcha. So
And
you were basically waiting for someone to show up so you could go start testing the rivers and the water and whatnot.
yeah,
Okay. Fair enough.
and he'll basically do the same type of probing questions Brittany and Shelley did. About superpowered beings, how they contribute, how normal folks contribute. He doesn't say anything about his opinions on the matter. But he keeps it pleasant while he's doing his work, and he takes plenty of samples, different spots on the rivers, blah 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 blah, all the science stuff.
Sure. So at this point, the guide that you had first met when you guys got off the plane had come back around, and somebody rang for you in your room, letting you know that somebody was here for you. They clearly had no idea, what it was about, but they just let you know somebody was here.
Okay.
When you go down, it's her, and she says, "Oh, I wasn't aware that you were in environmental technologies."
I very much am.
Mark. Right,
Mark's-
you're that I think I saw a show on you, right? You were some sort of like, oh, I don't know, like a radical for the oceans, right? Or something like that. Like you got in kind of a tiff with the Japanese government or something like that?
No, never that bad. I like to do stuff to protect the natural ecology of the oceans and the rivers. And burgeoning nations are a really big place where you go from having very little sewage to having a metric ton of it, and you kill off the fish, the productive algae, and all of a sudden your country ends up being horrible for it because you have no water. So even if you're exporting a ton of energy and if all you do is turn around and you have to buy more water to offset what your nation needs, it can be absolutely horrible.
And I actually couldn't agree with you more. She has two of the same guys with her. The outfits match the similar ones that the others saw. Again, lightly armored though, with just like pistols, not like full on rifles and whatnot. And she says, "No, so let's start with one of the rivers then that connects to the Baltic Sea."
All right, let's go.
We're more than happy to show off our desalinization efforts, as well as you put it, burgeoning nations and their attempts to deal with sewage and sewage lines. And I think you'll find that we are not just up to par, we are by far exceeding even some of the other nations, such as, shall we let London remain nameless?
The company that hired me, Mark's company, they wanted to open up and burgeon. Now I'm saying burgeon a lot. They wanted to open up and see what we can do for empowered folks like ourselves to actually have a development in the world instead of being treated as second-class citizens, which
Then
no one
you've
should
come
be
to the
treated
right
that
place.
way.
Yes, you've come. She's talking about this all as you guys are going along this drive, and meanwhile the road actually goes kind of adjacent to the river. As it goes, you can see that there's small like outcroppings of houses here and there and whatnot. Along picturesque kind of rolling hills and whatnot. I mean, it's the entirety of the place. They've taken great efforts to make sure that the place looks really nice and very welcoming and habitable. And then when you get towards, and it takes from where you're at maybe about an hour and a half drive. You get up towards the front where the Baltic Sea is, basically coming in. The river runs out to it, and you can see that they've got equipment and whatnot, or I should say not whatnot, but they have equipment and facilities set up along the beach line near where the river connects. Hello. Where, where they are working in tandem with the layout of the land, and it is you don't even see any real sewage. It looks like there's an effort to bring in more water from the sea, like I was saying before, like desalinization efforts. And when you get there, you can see that they've already got deviants on the job with appropriate powers, like either electricity or that deal with earth, or things of that nature that work well with the power plant that they have set up here. So
he'll take notes and samples and
sure. Give me an intuition check.
Intuition. Come on, you've been good to me all night long, Dice. 10.
All right.
Gonna fail me sometime.
But aside from your gut feelings, obviously about the nation, from what you can see, there's little to no pollutants in the water by the time it even gets here.
They're actually making honest efforts.
Oh yeah, and they're utilizing deviants to do so. So it's far superior to any normal technological standards.
Would you mind if I came? I don't know how long you were going to allow us. Mark was supposed to be handling all that. Would you mind if I came out here each day and did new crops of samples?
I believe we can work out some sort of temporary clearance for something of that nature. You would have to do so with protective guard. Obviously, we don't. We're wary for just reason for saboteurs coming into our country and wrecking things and making life.
I'm very aware of my siblings' behavior.
But I believe we could do something like that. Let me run that up the chain to some of my superiors, and I will leave a notification at your room.
All right. It's just that taking day-over-day samples will be good to test it.
Of course, I completely understand. We have had some troubles with neighboring countries, obviously with the river being adjacent. We can't control what it is that they're doing, which comes into our nation, which is why we redouble our efforts here to ensure that everything that we have is the cleanest possible with minimal chemical input.
And he'll mention a couple of mile markers that he saw along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Could I just walk to those and take samples from those locations as well?
Of course.
Or is it just that you're worried about this particular area?
No, not at all. You are more than welcome to examine any length, provided, of course, it's within our nation's boundaries, any length of the river you would like.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. And if you insist on the guards, I will take the guards.
Oh, we do insist. Not no offense meant, but we do need to keep our nation's health and concern as our primary feature.
Yes, and like I said, I know my the other two of my triplets who still work for the United States are very much can we say rambunctious with their attitudes about things. So I can completely understand you guys wanting to keep a good eye on me.
Of course. And so she allows you to, take the two guards with you, and provided you're not doing anything to,
nope, he is all above board.
Sure. Yeah, so you just kind of walk along the stream, basically the several miles back up, back up and down.
He will poke his head into the water every now and then to see if there's actually fish down there.
Yeah.
Okay, just looks like a normal river, just clean.
Yep.
All right.
It's not, by this point, it's not quite as clean as it is from where you were, but you would also know, territorially speaking, you're closer to the border of I think it's Poland. Let me see. I think it is. Yeah, it's either Germany or Poland. No, it's not Germany. It's Poland. So yeah, you're closer to Poland at that point. So like she said, it's matching up with what she said. They can't control what's coming into their country, but they can control what's here.
Yeah, and he finishes out the day, and is the car still there, or did the car leave?
No, they would send for the car to bring it back around, and so that way you're just not left out there walking.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the angler, did no, he did, because it was the flying fisher.
Right.
Oh, the frying fisher. No,
yes.
So my rocket travel is known.
Yes.
Oh, just hold on, guys. I'll take you back to the hotel. We don't need to call the car.
Oh, no. That's quite all right, sir.
You sure?
100%.
I can lift pretty good.
100% positive.
All right. And then he'll start making notes and doing other stuff that he would be expected to do.
Okay. Sure. Carmen, were you doing anything during this time frame while the rest of your family was out and about?
I'm going to do some real estate research. So if we're looking to expand a branch here, I'm going to start looking for maybe like what parts of town office space might be available, and possible, if there's time, possible residential. Just kind of get a feel for the city and like what is available in various parts of town. So if there's transit, then I'll take that. Sure. Otherwise, I'll just hoof it.
Yeah, no, and there is. You would have to either wait. You'd either have to call for a cab or like wait for a bus or something like that, since you guys don't have a vehicle.
Right.
But in your purview, as you go around, like going to either just kind of walking around the main city, and as well as going to like real estate and whatnot, you can see that there's still some open lots, so there's still room to build here. But the one thing that you do find interesting is that they have deviants whose specific task or skill is some sort of dealing with the earth to some sort. Imagine like from Avatar: The Last Airbender, earthbenders, whose specific task is to quickly fashion a building.
Yeah, I would be asking questions just because this is new and fascinating.
Sure. So you walk up to a site where they've got, they've got some equipment where they're getting it ready, and then like, some burly looking guy, kind of cracks his knuckles, and you can hear him say, "Yeah, just let me know when you're ready, boss." And the guy kind of motions for him to come on over, and he does, he kind of moves with his hands, very earthbendering looking, and he's like lifting rocks, quickly shunting the earth and setting it, like going way faster than you would see like normal digging equipment, and just easily moving things out of the way, and before you know it, you're looking at a basement.
Wow.
So one of the crewmen, hears you say that, and he's like, "Oh, you must be new here. This is a Tuesday."
Standard procedure, huh?
Yeah. Speeds up on time like, I don't know, 50%, 100%, easily.
How long would it take to make a high rise like this?
Oh, well, this is actually going to be a high rise. I think we've got some more people coming in here soon, refugees or whatnot. So we're in the process of building. I think this is, and he shouts to the foreman over there. He's like, "Apartments, right? These apartments?" And he says, "Yeah, they're apartments." He says, "Yeah, so they're going to be apartments. I think it's going to be like 4 or 5 stories when it's done."
How long does it take to build something like that?
He says, "We got guys that work on the metal. We got guys that work on the earth. Probably have this done by, I don't know, what, tomorrow?"
Where does all the material come from?
Oh,
Does it take time to bring that up?
No, we've got a mine here, but some of that's imported.
I imagine with all the new refugees, there's probably a lot of building projects, huh?
Yeah, we definitely got some more building. We got like 4 more lined up.
Wow. And it's all to code and everything?
Oh, to our code, yeah. Which I think the government kind of mirrored. What did he say? It's like English standards or something like that. It's very similar. Like you all line it up to like England or Ireland or some of those other. It's like it's similar.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's quick, and we're home for the evening.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. You don't sound like one of them Russians, though. You one of them Russian refugees?
American.
Oh, you're probably one of those Fairside folks, right?
People from other places than Fairside.
Oh, yeah. No offense meant. It's just that was like the one that just recently hit the news.
Are there a lot of Fairside refugees?
Oh, we heard about it. We got a few, but from what I understand, but no, not like a whole lot. It made a big splash on the news and whatnot.
Pretty great place to live.
What,
yeah.
You being ironical or something?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Hey, since you brought it up, is there like a central place that refugees from the same area would have congregated? Like Fairside people?
Oh, the government tries to avoid that. It's the whole they call it the gentrification, or I forget what rule they use, but back in the day where they threw all the refugees into one area, how you get your Chinatowns and your little Tokyos and what. Yeah, he's trying to avoid that sort of thing, but But these Russians coming over, it's kind of hard.
All right. Well, didn't mean to hold you up. I just
Ah,
you
no,
know.
no. It's heavy lifting's going on over here. I'm just supervising right now. I gotta wait for the metal to come in, and then we got the guy coming in to set those beams up. Lickety split.
That's pretty neat.
It's freaking amazing. You don't mind me saying.
Well, good luck and good work.
Hey, you too. Welcome to the neighborhood. You know,
Thanks.
or if you're just visiting, you know, then all that jazz.
All right. We'll see you around.
So he just kind of tips his hand to his hard hat, and and he's like, "Hey, can't set the beams there. How's he gonna shift the earth?" He goes over and starts, fussing at the guy who was, doing the earth melding and whatnot.
And I'll keep walking.
Okay. Yeah, you walked from there. You walk down the street because they've got it. I mean, it's not like just cowboy old west where just stuff is just thrown up. I mean, they've got it's tapered off and whatnot, so people don't accidentally get into the work site and hurt themselves. You've got you have stores all down the this front. Most of the stores here, though, they're all neighborhood stores. There's like no commercial chains, really, anything of that nature. What's that?
All mom and pop shops.
Yep. For obvious reasons, people are not wanting to bring in their business per se. So it's, on one hand, it's a boon because small business can thrive. On the other hand, it's obviously more difficult because some of the goods that bigger companies provide aren't here. But the difference is some of the people who own these shops, like when you stop by, you can see that there are like one of the things that you notice is there's like a shop that focuses on plant life, so like growing gardens and whatnot, working in tandem obviously with the bakery right next door. And the lady who's behind the counter, as you peek in, her power or gift is she can manipulate plant life. And so her the fruits that she has in here, or the flowers that they bloom, are obviously much more rich than you would find anywhere else. And she can obviously germinate things such as wheat and barley and whatnot to better effect, which the bakery then can in turn create much better goods and whatnot. So in a way, they kind of have that advantage as well.
Very impressive. So the general vibe is the same as we've been seeing. It's just very wholesome and well kept and
Mhm.
all of that.
Yeah, you're big. Like the people that are here are very, very relaxed. You do see that like people who are sweeping the streets, however, they are probably regular humans. You don't see anybody mistreating them, but you don't see anybody going out of the way to help them either. The one thing you do see, though, now that you're walking the street, is you can see that when they are getting off their shift or whatnot, they get on a special bus that drives them back to the ghetto.
Does anybody like throw them coins or anything? No.
Nope.
And we don't see any like panhandlers or anything.
Nope. Actually, you don't.
Do I get a chance to look at any like properties?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are properties that are up for sale, obviously, but the income here is, I mean, if you brought in coin, see the problem is if you bring in coin, really the only thing that they value are the more European. So like if you brought in the British pound or the American dollar, you could probably get somewhere, because the European coinage and whatnot hasn't been created yet. Otherwise, it's very work and trade. So very barter system there, because they don't have an income. From what you can tell, they don't really have an income per se, like a Deutschmark or something, because it's not going to be worth anything anywhere else. So it's like, what's the point? So they kind of have a practical approach to that sort of thing, since everybody has some sort of power. In many ways, you can kind of trade for certain things, and it's very tit for tat.
Okay, and so all of the properties that I'm looking at are also above board and just like nothing unexpected.
No, and in fact, if you price them comparatively, the prices are actually a little bit better than, not by much, but a little bit better than what you would find in like the United States right now.
Okay.
And,
I'm not
and
gonna.
by that, you'd probably shave like a couple thousand off, not like, by great amounts, but definitely a little bit better.
I'm not gonna, be committal about anything, right? Like I'm just, if anybody asks, like I'm really just taking a survey and bringing it back to my boss.
Oh yeah, no, and no one presses you on that. Everybody gets it. It's clear that they've encountered that sort of thing before.
Okay.
And you head back. So at this point, everybody manages to come back collectively to your respective rooms.
How has everyone been today?
Still waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, pennies in the air. He will. Do you want me to re-roll to set up the telepathic network?
Yeah, why don't we go get dinner and converse?
A good idea.
We head down to the cafe first.
Okay. So when you get down there, we'll say at this point it's the next evening. So for dinner, you have a couple of choices. They have a steak. They've got a chef salad. They have what's basically like a party pizza. So if you're trying to feed everybody at the table, you can do the extra large to bring it out on tray sort of thing. And they've effectively got like a bangers and mash
I hear the
with
German
sauce.
food's
I want the chef salad and steak.
He's gonna take a whole pizza to himself.
Okay.
I'll do the salad and steak as well.
Okay. So, well, the steak is separate from the salad.
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
So you're going to take a steak as well as a salad? Boy,
Yes.
everybody is hungry.
Then I'll just do the salad.
Okay. I was going to say, holy cow.
I'm hungry.
Caloric intake at this table is amazing.
Teleporting takes a lot out of you.
I make up for it because
Yeah, because you don't really eat anything. Same with him. So yeah.
Freddie has publicly said that he has to consume a lot of calories.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean
By 40% of our party that
he takes the orders. They're going to charge it to your room, so you don't even have to pull out any cards or anything. And he, the server goes walking in the back to go get everything ready.
While we're sitting down, he's actually taking notes and going over his stuff for the day.
Okay.
Do you want me to re-roll for the psychic network?
Yep, go ahead.
I'm going to drop 50 karma on this one.
Alrighty.
Which I did not need to do, but it's 75, so I'm in the hundreds on that.
125.
So that makes it 100. It is a red result. You guys have got your psychic network set up again.
Bing.
You hear from the kitchen as soon as the order for the pizza is given you. Hey, what's the matter? What's the matter? Hey, what's the matter? You make my pie and I eat it for you.
Hyperion, did you Did they get a hold of you?
I take it, Jerome, haven't received any word from investors or any contacts here talking
Yeah,
about quantum
not
management?
not as of yet. No.
Okay.
Their water
yet.
is a little too clean.
How do you mean?
They're using other SPBs as a way of filtering and controlling their water intake. Till you get up to a certain point on the river where it really begins to brush up against Poland more, their water is amazingly clean for a developing nation.
This is a developing nation that has a considerably high empowered population, with their powers being exceptionally strong in certain regards.
Agreed. But still, the samples I pulled are beyond what you would expect. With the number of people coming in, the purification is exceedingly high. I asked for permission to go back even with the guards or the next few days so I can test the water again just to see if it's a dog and pony show or if this is legitimate. It seems legitimate, but that part of my brain says I should not make assumptions.
Understood. During some of our journeys today, we have seen that they do more or less corral genetically typical human beings into restricted, low income, if not poverty stricken zones.
A service class.
You'll notice that every single laborer, or virtually all of them, especially those of minimal need of powers, such as cleaning, food preparation, and so forth, are all humans with no powers. The only real opportunities are afforded to empowered.
I'm not surprised by that at one little bit. With Reich Shield's past, this is perfectly understandable. Just
Yeah.
because he isn't a Nazi anymore doesn't mean he isn't a racist POS.
We got pulled over today.
Oh
What
no,
were you doing?
what happened?
I was teleporting, and Exion was sending out a signal, hoping to ping his ship, and they picked up on that high frequency, and I guess it's a no-no. So his communicator got confiscated.
Because it was a quote unknown frequency.
Is that going to be a problem?
I don't believe it will. We already know from our previous examination while we were back at headquarters of where, generally speaking, the ship is, more than likely near or underneath the Capitol building. It obviously won't be in an open area. It would either be within a hangar or perhaps underground. I suspect that it would have been teleported into place, since that seems to be the means by which they took it in the first place. Therefore, we may not have been able to reach it because there would have been too much interference to actually reach it in the first place. However, we do now know that they are wary of that technology and that frequency. It's likely that it's because the ship is in this country. We also know that they have regular monitoring and security services that fly, and even individual officers outfitted with jetpacks and advanced boots that allow them to propel themselves. It's actually quite impressive.
Did they take your identification down?
They
No,
did
No.
not. We simply relinquished the communicator and promised to not create or use one similarly in the future. And they gave us a verbal warning.
Which means we can't use our communicators while we're here.
It wasn't the communicator they were worried about. I'm pretty sure empowered groups are whatever the phrasing we're using right now, more than one have come in with their own sets of communication, private communication.
It was the frequency.
It was
Precisely.
probably the ping for your ship that caught them.
I am without a doubt convinced that it was. The
Did you get
frequency
any
that I was
responses
sending out
from
the
it?
signal is not something that is remotely even close to any of Earth's communications. Your
Did you get any
AM,
responses
FM,
from your ship?
negative, unfortunately.
No,
He
but I
makes
think
a few more notes.
I think we got too close, and that's why, because we were near the Capitol building when it happened. So I think it confirms that the ship is there.
Will it reactivate your ship, pinging it? Like turn on all the bells and whistles?
It would communicate. I cannot remotely control it, but it would communicate. It is in a what would be considered a sleeping state. It is unknown to me if it is possible by any other means other than a direct interface by some extremely high technology to be able to interface with it or control any aspects of the ship in its own without direct contact from somebody of my specific race.
That may be the case. However, we do need to take into consideration they are aware of that frequency. And how else would
Yes.
they be able to, unless they were able to access your ship's systems?
And it is
Passive
possible
radar.
that they have been able to duplicate and seen a reaction from my ship if they are able to synthesize that frequency. Though it may not be able to control directly, it would more than likely at least acknowledge.
I think we will need to continue our guise and be here for the next several days. Perhaps following the route of setting up shop, if you will, here will give us more of an in when it comes to actually understanding the technology that's available, and perhaps getting the opportunity to observe what's within these restricted areas. But we will need to be careful.
So Carmen, what did you do today?
I looked at real estate. Honestly, I was looking for the seedy underbelly, and so far, I haven't found it. Uh, except for it sounds like the human areas, which I didn't see. But it was quite impressive, actually. They were using powered individuals to do large construction projects with ease and efficiency, and everyone seemed happy to do their job. It was enviable. One thing I did, I talked to a couple of workers, and inevitably the new in town discussion ensued. And first of all, everyone's heard of Fairside, and I took a chance and asked if there were congregations of, for example, refugees from specific places, and apparently it's been discouraged. And I can understand that from a unifying standpoint, but also I'm really curious to see if anyone from Fairside actually did arrive here, or if they were taken elsewhere. Because we still don't know where they ended up, those that were carted out by blackout. I'm guessing it's probably not here.
May be right. We did learn when that occurred that there may have been many of those individuals taken to the island of country of Senia.
Oh, that's right. I'd be very curious.
They may be still there.
I'd be very curious to see if any Fairside refugees did end up here, under their own power or otherwise. Oh.
Why is that curious to you?
I just I haven't quite figured it out yet.
I see.
So what's our next move?
We continue the ruse.
Precisely. We do what we can to learn as much as we can through regular means.
On the
Oh, go ahead.
On the unbelievable possibility that they are just trying to set up a nation that is supposed to benefit everyone. Like I said, unbelievable. I believe very much that we need to be on top of this. We should not be afraid to pull out if we have to. We can always come back. They seem to be welcoming to any superpowered individual. And business deals like this, I'm pretty sure Mark will tell us, doesn't happen overnight. So even if we have to come back a couple of times for all this, that would not be outside of the norm.
And if something goes south and we need to get out in a hurry,
I can get us out of here.
Okay.
I can take us straight home.
Okay.
Joan has shown she's been actually very adept with her teleportation.
I would avoid taking us directly back, but that's a nitpick. I would pop through a couple other states first in case they have a way of tracking your teleportation, since you've been doing it all over the town already.
Good point.
What do you say we do the tourist thing and check out some government building tours, perhaps?
Yeah, I was hoping that they would have a tour for like the Capitol building.
Maybe some other interesting tourist locations just to kind of throw off the trail.
Excellent idea. Keep up the ruse.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And worst comes to worst, I continue to have to work. He continues to make more notes.
Okay. The food is now coming out. The big pizza set down on a center tray, elevated tray.
Oh no, that's all from me. Bring it over here, man.
He says, "Sorry, it's just that's a part of it. That's whatever." He sets it down and kind of pushes it over towards you a little bit and sets down the chef's salads and the steak.
Our friend from last night is not here, is he?
No, not currently.
Okay.
Is there anybody that was there last night there?
Not that you can tell, no. There's more people here. It's actually more people in general here tonight. But nobody that you recognize from the night before. And as you sample the food, it is actually the best tasting salad, steak, and pizza you've ever had.
Place is unreal.
Incredible.
It's like the steak is like the right cut, and it is tender. It's still sizzling. You know, it's got a lot of flavor. You know, they don't. I mean, obviously they don't have anything like, you know, A1 sauce or anything of that nature, but the way it was prepared and everything is just right. It's clear that the ingredients used are far superior.
So Hyperion's looking at everybody like, oohing and eyeing over their food and chowing down, and he goes, "Seems as if everyone is quite enjoying their meals."
Oh, I wish you could have some of that.
I wish people at home could have some of this.
So it's of high quality compared to what you've had before.
Definitely.
I mean,
Could
even
there be something in the food, Hyperion? Is that what you're theorizing?
No, I just wonder how their economy will continue. One
even
moment.
when I lived in the nice parts of town, I didn't eat food like this.
If superpowered people are creating a lot of the economy, the construction, you're looking at significantly lower cost of living. That is the advantage a place like this is going to have on the rest of the world. It's the reason they're trying to seduce people in.
What happens when one of the cogs in that machine stops working right?
USSR, it's going to break apart.
It seems like a pretty delicate balance.
You're completely dependent on one class of individual, and they are trying to support significantly more, since the population of genetically typical human beings does significantly outnumber those who seem to be superpowered. What would happen when you move the political and social power in that direction? You suddenly have an entire world filled with refugees who cannot defend themselves against individuals who have several orders of magnitude of power beyond them on average.
And that's very much why the Reich Shield has not changed.
I agree. This country is extremely beneficial for empowered individuals, but in the short term, I don't see how they'd be able to sustain this for more than a generation.
It's very beneficial to the Nazis. However, the Jews are treated as lesser individuals and as slaves at best.
An apt historical comparison. Has anyone
Very
here
much.
talked to the human populace?
No,
Thought it might sound suspicious.
it didn't seem like anybody was having conversations with them, just ordering them.
Then a president of a company should do something about that, perhaps. And Hyperion stands up and he walks over to like where the chefs are and whatnot.
Oh, the bartender.
Okay.
He's
Hello,
currently
sir.
cleaning the glass. Oh, hey, what can I do for you?
Well, my friends and I are new in this area, and we've seen differences here and there. I was wondering how you felt your living situation was here in New Prussia.
He's like looking around. He says, "What is this, a trick question?"
No, far from it. Why would you think it's a trick question?
Because we're flat scans? Kind of setting us up for a fall?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the term flat scan. Again, I'm new to the area.
Yeah, it's those who are not genetically superior to the deviants.
See. And how do you feel about that situation? I understand you live and work here, but how do you feel?
So he's like looking around, like expecting, to get hit or something. He's like, I got a job. May not be the most glamorous one, but I didn't even have that prior to, old Reichshield coming in.
So has your position in life with regard to finances and so forth improved since Reichshield came into power?
There's some trade-offs. You sure this isn't like a setup or something?
It is not.
So, yeah, I mean, my house sucks. But, I got a job.
See,
Ask
You're
if
familiar with the Soviet Union, right? Bread
I am.
lines, all that problematic stuff.
So you're comparing it to life in the USSR.
Where do you think I was from? I mean, he's speaking in a Russian accent, but
Okay.
a little bit more commercialized given the area.
Yeah. Understandable. Are you aware of living conditions in other first world nations such as the United States, Australia?
No,
You aren't. Why is that?
okay, look, Bub, it's not like we ever got television from those places. Sure, somebody would sneak in some Levi's every so often or whatnot, and that would get bootlegged on the black market for like a year's worth of bread. But it's not like we, knew much about what was going on over there outside of, bootleg tapes of I Love Lucy.
I see.
Which I gotta tell you does not translate all that well.
Yes, much of television is strange. I agree. Well, do you find that your compatriots who you live with, other human beings, have similar situations to yours?
Oh yeah, we all do. But most of us, most of us here, we came from the generation of have not. I guess that's what you would call it. Like I said, bread lines, man, the Soviet Union was a total mess. So, yeah, would I like more? Of course. Any guy worth his salt, I guess, would like more, but I don't have some KGB looking to stick a knife in my back. I know who deviants are. I'm not looking to start any problems with them. Yeah, my house sucks, but I got a job.
See.
And he's like looking at himself. I'm a heck of a lot cleaner.
I wonder why their area is closed off to the deviant.
I have seen recently that locations are designated for human beings without powers. I take it you would live in such an area.
Yeah. Yeah, we would.
And you say that your house sucks. Is it at least livable, running water and so forth?
Yeah, we've got that. Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, the first thing he told us is that he's not going to let plague break out. So we've got like running water, we've got gas, and working toilet and whatnot. It's up to us to maintain the area, and well, communism.
You
So
see.
So you got basically too many people who in my opinion, got used to sitting on their butt and just getting or expecting, I should say. And now they're having to put up or shut up. Well, they're shutting up.
Interesting. I wonder, do you know what happens to any human being who is disabled and not able to put up?
Oh, yeah, they're not tolerated.
So if a human being can't work, what happens to them?
They're shipped out.
Oh, to a specific location that you know of?
Yeah, they usually run across the border either to Latvia or the okay, so they're the Russian Federation now.
Interesting. They're not willing to attempt to heal or provide aid, but they are willing to deport.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, like, I guess that's why we got all the crap jobs. I mean, it's not like we're going to be. What's the way to put this? I'm sure you've seen all the construction jobs and whatnot going on. We're not working on things like that. We're not working on the high risk stuff. We're doing all the menial, crud jobs. Not a whole lot of risk. You can't do this. What are you going to do? Like I said, it's not perfect. Would I like better? Yeah. Not my place.
We understand. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And you just tell our overlords that I'm still happy.
I walk back to the table and sit down.
Telepathically, he didn't trust you. I don't need to be a mind reader to know that. I'm gonna head upstairs. I'm done with the pizza, and I'll see y'all in the morning. And he'll get up and he'll leave and he'll, good night, everybody. See you in the morning. Making it clear he's talking out loud now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we've been quite a very long time.
Outside of eating.
Yeah.
And so you get up, walk out, and you walk back to the table. And just as Hyperion sits back down at the table to, from his conversation, a businessman, very well dressed and whatnot, who just happens to have red eyes, like solid blood red eyes, bows politely and lays a envelope at the table. Envelope's got this nice gold filigree, around it, whatnot.
Hello there. Is this from somebody in particular?
He says, yes, it is. And with that, he steps away and walks off.
Any type of marking on the envelope? Is there just blank on the outside?
Yeah, it's just blank. Outside of the nice decorative nature of it.
Okay.
You've been served.
Wax seal?
Yes.
I make note of this. Does the seal have a specific insignia or anything?
Yeah, it's German looking. Like you would expect from some sort of crest, family crest of some nature.
Is it similar to any of the emblems we've seen on the Nazi-esque dudes we fought in the past?
Oh, good question. Give me intuition check.
Can I use my total memory instead?
Sure. Go ahead and roll.
Sweet. Because I think that's higher. Yeah. Okay, good. Remarkable. 47 on remarkable green.
Okay, so you parse that information real quick. Nothing.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and open it.
Okay.
Take it out. See what's inside.
So it is a handwritten letter, written on actual quill ink. It's been dried, but so it's like very fancy. Like somebody took pains to make this look very nice and inviting. And you have been cordially invited to the Reichshield estate for dinner tomorrow night.
Is that specifically Mark Annette or Mark Annette and guests?
Specifically to Legacy.
Legacy. Oh, okay. Interesting. It literally references Legacy.
Yes.
Okay.
Damn.
I was
We
afraid of
came as Legacy, though.
No, you didn't.
No.
Correct?
No, we
No.
didn't.
No?
No.
Pride-
You guys came
Our
over legally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So
Yeah.
How do they know it's us?
How would they not know it's us?
They spare no expense nor effort in making sure that all of their information and technology is as advanced as possible. At least now we know we are on more even footing. Does the thing it's for tomorrow night?
It is for tomorrow night, yes.
Okay.
I
should get
still have-
rest.
I still have the telepathic connection together.
Thing
We
I
should-
got that dress.
We should get rest, prepare for tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that, we will go ahead and stop there for the evening. For the game session. That's a good place to stop. Interesting turn of events. I wasn't sure if you guys were even going to go here. But yes, the plot definitely thickens. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Unfortunately, our next game won't be until next month. The Friday and Saturday coming up, we have people coming into town. We've got conventions, people going out of town. So we would be down players anyways. So the next game is actually going to be June 11th. So is that good for everybody?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I have no known conflicts.
All righty. Yeah, sorry about that, Davey. We're going to have to leave you hanging for about a month. So June.
don't leave me hanging.
Yep, June 11th will be our next game. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you guys, those who tuned in and chatted with us. We will see you next time. And have a good one. Good night, guys.
Peace.